What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Angela, formerly an investment banking analyst working in New York City and now a corporate development associate working at a tech firm. Prior to doing my full-time job in investment banking, I actually did an investment banking internship at that same firm in New York City. With spring and summer internships creeping by, I wanted to touch on my own summer internship experience, how much I was paid, what I spent it on, how much I was able to save, and my overall takeaways and experience. So please stay tuned if you are interested. I'm just going to get straight into it. Let's talk about the pay first. I was offered to be paid $24 per hour for the first 40 hours per week, and an additional 1.5 times that for every additional hours I worked. That meant I was getting paid $36 for every additional hour I worked beyond 40 hours. And as you might already know, there's a lot of overtime in investment banking, and so I did work over 40 hours every single week. The total length of the internship was 9 weeks with 1 week of training, and you get paid an additional $2,000 sign-on bonus for the internship. On average, every week I would earn about $2,700. Some weeks it would be more, some weeks it would be less, because this was based on how many hours I worked that week. Out of that $2,700 for 1 week, $960 of it was based on the $24 for the first 40 hours. That also meant that $1,740 of that total amount was being paid to me through overtime. $1,740 divided by $36 per hour ends up being about close to 50 hours, which meant that I was working on average close to 90 hours per week during my internship. What this meant was that I was generally in the office around 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 to 1:30 a.m. from Mondays through Thursdays, and on Fridays I was generally in from 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. And on weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays, I would generally work about 4 to 5 hours per day. The difference between an internship and full-time is that when you're full-time, you get a fixed salary. You do not get paid for overtime. However, analyzed, it ends up being similar because full-time analysts are paid an annual bonus. Next, I want to talk about the perks and the benefits. Obviously, you don't get certain benefits like full-time analysts do, such as dental and health insurance. However, you do get a lot of the other benefits and perks. For example, you get a $25 stipend to spend on Seamless every night of Monday through Friday, and you also get an additional $20 for lunch and $25 for dinner on both Saturday and Sunday as well. In addition to that, all Ubers leaving the office after 10 p.m. on weekdays and weekends are also expensed. Those perks and benefits are pretty cool for just an intern and a 9-week internship. Now, how did I spend this internship money and what were my expenses? So during my internship, I stayed in a 3-bedroom apartment in Manhattan with 2 other roommates. I stayed in the smallest bedroom, partially because I wasn't really there and didn't really feel like I needed that space. And so I paid $1,500 in rent overall. In comparison with a lot of other people, I actually thought that $1,500 was a pretty good price for living in New York City and living relatively close to the office. I usually took either an Uber pool or a subway ride to the office in the morning. An Uber pool was usually a little bit more expensive, but my subway route to the office was just really inconvenient and involved probably about 5 minutes on the actual subway and 20 minutes of walking because the lines just didn't match up. So sometimes I just spend a little bit more and pay for an Uber pool to get there. As for my food, I usually ate dinner at the office during the weekdays as well as for weekend lunches. I really only ate out maybe Friday nights and Saturday nights and maybe for a Sunday brunch. So every weekend, I would usually spend around $100 to $150 on meals eating out. I did almost zero cooking that summer. Therefore, my total monthly expenses would land somewhere around the $2,000 per month mark. Next, taxes. You have to account for taxes when it's such a big portion of your take-home salary. At the rate that I was making during my internship, I really wasn't being taxed that much. If you annualize how much I was being paid during the summer, it would probably become around $140,000 to $150,000 per year, but I wasn't being taxed at that amount because I had only made about $25,000 to $27,000 during that summer, and so I was taxed at a much lower tax bracket of about 20%. The amount that I saved month to month was about $7,000 after tax, resulting in about $15,000 after my entire internship, which I felt was quite a lot for about 2 months of my summer. And lastly, the internship experience. I want to talk about it from a work and a social perspective. You're usually working with another analyst, usually one who's worked there for about a year or 2 years already, and therefore the work you're given really isn't that difficult. So an intern will generally do some of the more tedious and easy to do work. However, since you're an intern and you want to get an offer, your hours sometimes end up being unnecessarily stretched out in comparison to the amount of work you have. For example, I would usually get there at 8:30 a.m. every morning to get there before all of the full-timers came in around 9 to 9:30, and I would usually not leave before the analyst who I was working with left. So I ended up trying to be the first person to get there as well as the last person to leave. Also, as an intern, you don't really have a big picture or a lot of ownership into the things that you're doing. You're not as integrated into the deal team as a full-time analyst is. You're usually given bits and pieces of a deck and told to work on a page or two for a couple of hours, while the analyst is working on everything else. As for the social aspect of the internship, that was probably my favorite part of it. Yes, the hours were really bad and I was constantly stressed, but looking back and comparing my internship to my full-time experience, there were a lot of events that they did for interns that I got almost none of during my full-time experience. As an intern, you have events that HR plans for you, such as cruises and ice cream socials. And you have events that your group plans for you, such as going bowling or going to rooftop bars. So every single week there is at least one event for interns, and that really makes a big difference in your experience, and usually for full-timers as well. So finally, obviously, people don't just do the internship for the pay. I do think that the pay is good, especially with the overtime component. It makes it just a little bit more worthwhile working until 1 a.m. at night when you know that you're being compensated for it. However, the internship itself is really a test to see if you have what it takes to be a full-time analyst. At the end of all of these internships, they extend full-time offers for you to return the following year. And usually I'd say over half of interns, if not most or all interns, will get a return offer. It really ranges from bank to bank and group to group, but it can be incredibly stressful during those last 2 weeks or so when you know they're really analyzing you and everything just feels like a test. Every little mistake you make feels like you are giving up on your offer. I remember overanalyzing every single thing of what people said to me and how they were reacting to me. I would ask people to go for coffee chats and network and just try to confirm my offer. So it was quite a stressful period. I hope this was informative in learning a little bit about how much the internship pays and what is expected of interns and what they do, and a little bit about how I spent some of that money and what I was able to save from it. Let me know if you guys have any questions down in the comment section below. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps a lot. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell to turn on notifications so you know whenever I post a new video. If you're interested in more content from me, I also have a Patreon. The link is in the description box below. It's patreon.com/AngelaSunX3. I offer a lot more investment banking exclusive content on there, a Discord chat, and a lot more personalized mentorship. So I'd love to get to know you there if you'd like to support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!